WSB.
Hi, Sean. Oh, good. You are fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes. A great host. Sean is great. Listen to his show.
Absolutely, 95.5.
One mic.
Shelley Winter Show, live, local, topical, and relevant, my friends. Wow, 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 what a day. What a beautiful day it was today, ladies and gentlemen. Just a wonderfully beautiful day. It's going to be a great weekend. I'm just so excited about the holiday. Does any, let me say this. Let me say this. I have a topic I want to say. I got a bunch of stuff. Got a guest on tonight. We're going to go through the whole gamut of commentary and everything. So you don't want to leave the radio this evening. But really quickly, does anybody feel like the holiday kind of started already? Like I've just realized, because I had a busy day, but I feel kind of like I'm waiting when I get off the air tonight. I plan on just going home, getting some Chinese food on the way home, and just kind of going to bed. I'm not going to bed, but going in the house and chilling out. I don't have any plans to go anyplace or anything. And it just dawned on me that I feel like it's the holidays. Like I feel like it started. Like, mentally, is anyone listening to me right now and you kind of checked out of work, and next week you're going to go into the office, but you're not going to get much done because you kind of checked out, especially with the 4th being on a Friday. On a Saturday, next Saturday. And we're celebrating 250th anniversary of birthday of celebration of America. It's like it feels like I'm in holiday mood. I think that's what's going on with me. So we're back at war, kind of, I guess. I don't know. Iran did break the ceasefire. They attacked a Singapore-flagged ship, oil tanker. And that was, I think, 2 days ago, Thursday, I think, or yesterday, maybe the day before. And Trump, bombed some radar sites and some weapons cache, weapons holding facilities on the Strait, bordering the Strait of Hormuz of the Iran side. We're back. I don't know what that means. It's kind of, you come, ceasefire, look, and then, you know what I mean? But they did break the ceasefire, and Trump had every right, and he should have. He should have leveled them, basically on what he's been saying. But we're back to wherever that is, right? But here's the thing I want to bring up. I had, my earliest memory of a presidency that I really paid attention to was Reagan, 1980, right? That was in school. I was old enough to follow the news, and that's when I really started to pay attention. When I say pay attention, I didn't know all the ins and outs, but I knew a lot. And I was I was into the news. I read the news. I watched the news. I knew what was going on. And every night when politics or news came up, it was Reagan. You very rarely did you ever hear about George W. Bush, his vice president. Then you had a second term of Reagan. Never really heard about the vice president. Matter of fact, the vice presidency, most people say it's like, no one even knows you're there. And then Bush wins one term. The only time you ever heard about Quayle is when he went to a blackboard and I think it was potato. He spelt it wrong. And that was a big joke. Quayle's dumb, right? And then Clinton wins. Got 2 terms of Clinton. Al Gore is his vice president. You heard about Tipper Gore more than you heard about Al Gore, right? When Tipper was fighting gangster rap and the explosion of this violent, misogynistic, drug-addled, drug-fueled new music form, new music genre. But you heard about her almost as much as you heard about Al Gore. And then after Clinton, we had W. And, kind of just WWWWW. Then Obama. Didn't really hear about Biden, right? You heard about Obama, tan suit, did this, did that, whatever. Biden was lurking in the background. And then Trump comes along and Pence is there. The only time I've really ever heard of the biggest story I ever heard about Mike Pence was when they said he wouldn't meet with women in an office without another person present. I always liked that about him, but you never heard him really, right? Then you have Biden and Kamala. You don't hear about her. You hear the only time we ever heard about her was when he made her the czar, the border czar. He actually put her in a position where she had to be talked about because she was the border czar. But she didn't really, he gave her that. My point is it fascinating to anybody listening to me right now that it seems to be an orchestrated effort by everyone in conservative media to make J.D. Vance the entire architect and planner and general and everything with Iran. Like, are you guys hearing what I'm hearing? It's all over the place. And it seems to be orchestrated. And I don't understand. I've never seen this before in my life. Now, if you had a president, say like Biden, who was let's say this was Biden's second term, he's a little older, he's going through the problem, he's got stuff, memory problems and things like that, and he's older. If it were Biden and his vice president, I get that. But Trump's in charge of everything. Like since he came on the scene, even when he wasn't president and Biden was president, Trump was still in charge. Nothing happened without his okay. And now I'm saying, this is J.D. Vance's war? The negotiations are all J.D. Vance? Nobody else? And here's what's fascinating to me is that it's across conservative media. YouTubers, podcasters, Fox News, talkers, everything. It's across the board. It's not like it's one person. It's across the board. Does anybody even know where our Secretary of State is? No. Not that is the plan. These people know this is a bad idea to go to war with Iran. They talked about it in February 28th, March 1st, all of that. Yeah, we're triangulating, we're weakening China, all the stuff that you heard for 3 weeks, 3 months, and then the gas prices and everything. Oh, we got to suffer short-term pain, long-term gain, all of that. These people were saying that. And it was all Trump, it was all Trump, it was all Trump, it was all Trump. We need to do this, and then bam! Just like that, it spun to being J.D. Vance's war. Now, I'm not a defender or attacker of J.D. Vance at all. I'm just observing what's going on. And it says one thing and one thing only, my friends. The entirety of the conservative media scape, if you will. TV, cable news, podcasters, radio, talk radio, everything, the entirety of it is lining up for Marco Rubio for 2028, period. That's all this is about. They're protecting Marco Rubio because they want Marco Rubio in 2028. Remember, J.D. Vance was not the pick by these entrenched people that have been around a very long time. He was never the pick. The pick was Don Jr., Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk. They influenced the president to pick J.D. Vance because they wanted to get younger. Remember that. So now it's time to pivot. You got a lame duck coming up. If all things happen that we think is going to happen in November, you're going to have a lame duck presidency, and everyone's getting ready for 2028. And the pick by everybody in conservative media on TV, radio, and everywhere else is Marco Rubio. And they're throwing J.D. Vance to the wolves. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. When have you ever heard a vice president being in charge of a war, being in charge of a peace agreement? Not the Secretary of State, not the sitting president who's in charge of everything. the vice president, J.D. Vance. They're throwing him under the bus. And there's really nothing he can do about it. And it's sad to see. There's an old hip-hop song. Not an old one, but it's a hip-hop song that comes to mind when I hear them dogging J.D. Vance. These beep ain't loyal. I'll leave it right there. It's the Shelley Winter Show. 448-720-0750. 1-800-WSB-TALK. We'll be right back.